So, hi, my name is Carl McColman, and I am the author of books like Eternal Heart and the Big Book of Christian Mysticism, a few others like that. I'm also the creator of the anamkara.com blog, which is a blog devoted to contemplative and mystical spirituality. I feel very, very blessed to be able to do the work that I do. I've been passionate about mystical and contemplative spirituality since I was just freshly out of high school many, many years ago. And so it has been a lifelong, again, passion, commitment of mine. And it is just a real honor to be able to share that with readers like you. So something that I hear a lot from people who connect with me online is that many people who share this interest in the contemplative life and the mystical life often feel isolated, often feel alone. Even if they're members of a church, they might find nobody else in their church or faith community shares that interest. I hear from priests and ministers, people really of all walks of life, people who are very involved in religion, people who are not involved in religion, people who identify as Christian, people who identify with other wisdom or faith traditions. But this seems to be a common kind of theme, is that the contemplative life, which does involve kind of a solitary yearning for the divine, oftentimes leaves people feeling all alone. So I decided to do something about that. And my blog has been for the last, 5 years now, been supported by patrons through a website called Patreon, which is a website for crowdfunding creative professionals, writers and artists, musicians, podcasters, people like that. And so Patreon has been very instrumental in the ongoing ability for me to keep writing, to keep creating the kind of content that my readers seem to enjoy, and that is certainly important for me to be creating. If you're already a member of Patreon, thank you so much, because your support really does make a difference. If you're not a member of Patreon, then, I'm not just making a pitch for you to provide financial support for my work as an artist. Obviously, that's part of this, but I'm also inviting you to come and join the circle. There are a number of people who have accompanied me over the years through Patreon. And what we have begun to do within the last year or so is to really build a community. And we're building a community through two primary functions. First is that we're reading books together. And so for this year, we're going to be reading Evelyn Underhill. I don't know if you can see it very well, but trust me, this is Evelyn Underhill. Howard Thurman, the wonderful mystic from Atlanta, where I live, and the amazing Julian of Norwich. And if time permits, we may go on to Meister Eckhart, Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross. The list of potential mystics that we can read is endless. So on a monthly basis, thereabouts, give or take, but about on average once a month, I'm going to be sending out materials to Patreon members that will function as kind of study guides or commentary, just reflection prompts to accompany you as you read these incredibly rich and wise mystical writings. But this isn't just a course that I'm talking about here. Again, the key word here is community. So I'm also going to be hosting what I like to call contemplative salons. Twice a month on Zoom, we'll have a call where members of the Patreon community can come together with me. We'll have some time for centering prayer, some time for shared silence. We'll do other exercises like Lectio Divina, maybe Ignatian exercises using the imagination, really try to get into the practice of contemplative spirituality. But we'll also be looking at quotations from whichever book or books that we're reading at the time. And I realize everybody reads at their own pace. So I'll be pulling quotes and presenting them to the group in the Zoom call. So even if you haven't begun the book, or, I'm on chapter 5 and you're on chapter 2, it's not a problem. You can still come join the Zoom call, and we'll have quotations, we'll have material that we'll be looking at through the slides, and then an opportunity for us to meditate together, reflect together, share together, and be prayerful together, so that we basically support each other in moving deeper into our own individual contemplative practice. So you may be wondering, well, what's the catch? Again, Patreon is a a forum for supporting creative professionals. So I'm asking for a commitment of $20 a month. If you pay annually, you can save 15%. That works out to about $204 a year. You can cancel at any time. So it's, it's not like you're signing, the next 20 years of your life away. It's either a month by month commitment or a 1-year commitment at a time. And the invitation is then you join Patreon, you provide financial support for my work. I, in turn, invite you into this process of reading the mystics together, reflecting together, and coming together on Zoom once or twice a month to build community together. Now, I know it's impossible to find a time when everybody can make it. So we'll be hosting the Zoom meetings at different points. Each month there will be one on a Saturday, 11 o'clock East Coast USA time, and there will be one on a weeknight, again, East Coast USA time. So depending on where you are in the world, those times may or may not be the most convenient. But what I'll also be doing is recording the piece where I'm giving a talk or I'm giving a presentation, and those recordings will be made available to you as well. So you'll have access to the recordings, the Zoom call recordings, the actual live Zoom calls, the writing that I'm going to be doing exclusively for Patreon members, and occasionally I'll throw in another goodie. For example, if you join in February of 2023, I'll send you an autographed copy, a signed copy of one of my books. You get to choose from a list of available titles. If you're a member in August of 2023, you get a signed copy of my forthcoming book, my book that will be published that month, which is a new expanded edition of the Big Book of Christian Mysticism. So I hope you'll consider joining Patreon, obviously not only to support my work, for which I am grateful, but also to come together so that we can all support one another in our spiritual journey, learn from the mystics and learn from one another, and pray together and support one another. Last thing I need to say is that this is spiritual work. And so I recognize that for some people, a commitment of $20 a month may just not be possible. You're unemployed, you're on fixed income, retirement, there are a number of reasons why that could be a problem. So please, 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 if this is something that you really would like to be part of and the money is an obstacle, reach out to me. We'll work something out. So obviously I'm creating this program in part for the fundraising of my work, but I'm also creating it to build community. So I don't want money to be an obstacle for anybody. So I just want to make sure that point is clear as well. So, so there you go. If contemplative spirituality sings to you, if you would like to really build a community of fellow seekers, and you're having a hard time finding it at home, come join me online. Let's meet on Zoom. Let's pray together, reflect together, get to know one another, and support each other on our shared journey into the mystery of divine love.